Hello, everyone, and hello to the third day of Humankindness Challenge. We are here today to talk about the spirit. We are here today because we want to give you something back. Everyone who contributed to our film in the last month, thank you so much. And everyone who still will, and everyone who actually just support us by watching, sharing things, and so on, thank you so much. For sure, it's a great pleasure to have so many people on board and so many people trusting us. Today, I have a special guest. My guest today is Yoon Fuchs from the Freedom Quest. Hi, Yoon. How are you?
Hey, I'm phenomenal. I'm excited. I'm overwhelmed. I'm joyful. Thank you for having me. This is exciting. How are you doing?
I'm very well, and I can't wait to talk about the spirit because this is not my natural habitat, let's say. So, let me just present to you why we're doing this challenge. This challenge we're doing because we want to give you something back. We created this film with Anya. We got married, we prepared a documentary, and we are on half of the production. Now we are raising funds, only 3 more days we have to get more funds on board, and we have a special offer for you to share right now. Our offer is the following. We got one person who said, you know what, I want to donate to you, but I want to donate in a special way. So this person said, for everyone from now on until the end of campaign, so for today, tomorrow, and after tomorrow, if you pay for pre-ordering the film, you can see this in the bottom here, in the bottom of the screen. You don't need to pay $19, but only $10 because this other person will pay the second half for you. So 47% off of the film. And today I have actually one special thing for you. Who will buy this film the first? I can check this later on, by the way, in the system. Who will buy this film the first will get also 2 VIP tickets for the premiere of the film. So take it, check this link, go to the page, buy the film, and the first one will get this prize. Secondly, I'm very sorry to say, but today Anya is not with me because she had to work. Yes, even though we are preparing this campaign for 1 month already, we're working day and night. We're working also as normal people, plus, of course, for this campaign. And for that reason, she couldn't join us. Maybe, just maybe, she will join us at the end. But today, we want to talk about the spirit. But before we go to Yoon Fuchs, let me just say that yesterday, we had an amazing talk with Tora Washington and Lara Shushmel, where we set one challenge that we should put on the shirt, for example, that is actually a little bit too small because we got a little bit of fat. And this is my shirt. I really like the shirt, but it's actually a little bit too small, and I don't like to wear it because it's too small. It's uncomfortable, but it's exactly what I want from now because I want to get fitter, better, especially in the next months. Because yes, May was crazy, but June, July are great for sports, for everything. Also, they're great for the spirit. Yoon, you are the creator, or let's say founder of the Freedom Quest. What is Freedom Quest?
The Freedom Quest is a quest to veganize over 50% of the global human population of all humans on planet Earth by 2030. So it's a quest, it's a mission, and I'm working with a team to make this happen. We have different things that we're doing, but the main thing that we're currently developing is an online education platform specifically designed for vegans to elevate their impact in their own unique shape or form. So that's the Freedom Quest. It's a quest, it's a mission, and I'm honored to be a part of it as the founder, as the initiator. Yeah, that's what it is.
Sounds amazing. And of course, anyone who is interested into it, go to the Freedom Quest, check out what they're doing, contact Yoon. He's an amazing person. He really wants to make this world a better place for all of us. And of course, we are very happy to have you on board, by the way, in this thing. Also, Yoon is going to be in the film. Yes, tell us, first of all, why did you decide to be in the film? Why do you want to be part of the film Humankindness, the Animal Dilemma?
Well, first, before we go there, I actually want to say I love the shirt on you. We said it before. It's very matchy. We both have like these palm trees, these color contrasts going on. It's as if we would have planned it, but we didn't. The universe did.
Exactly.
And I love the intention that you're having. I think what we're going to talk about today will help you to actually like become more capable of changing the shape of your body, because we're going to talk about meditation as well. So I'm sure you're going to benefit a lot from that too. But back to your question, why I want to be in this movie. The Freedom Quest it's a big quest, right? It's a really big vision. It's a big mission. The idea of the Freedom Quest came up quite recently, as we're speaking right now. Actually, a year ago, I didn't know that there's something called the Freedom Quest. I didn't initiate it. I had no idea. And once I started working with my current business coach, his name is Shane Jeremy James. He's also vegan since 2 decades already, from Canada. Beautiful human being. If you're watching, very grateful for you. Through his help and working with him, this quest has developed itself, and the strategy, the shape has taken form. And for me, the strategy and shape is always linked to the bigger question: how can we help more people on planet Earth go vegan, right? And being a part of this movie is just a beautiful opportunity for not only me as the individual that I am, but mainly for the Freedom Quest as a platform, as a movement, as an initiative to be seen and heard and experienced by more vegans out there, and also be experienced by pre-vegans, as I love to call them, because in my mindset, it's just a matter of time that most people turn vegan, right? So when we connected, and when I saw the trailer, I was crying. I told you this, Mate. I was crying when I saw the trailer. I was excited. I felt a lot of emotions when I saw it. And it actually reminded me of the first ever pro-vegan or vegan education documentary that I've ever seen. And that made me go vegan around, what is it, 6 years ago? Not 2017. So around 6 years ago, yeah. And it reminded me of that. And I felt so connected through this memory to that movie. I was like, we got to reach out, right? We got to somehow collaborate. And then you said, well, there's a beautiful way you can be a part of the movie, right? And so I said, love it. Love it. So I talked to my team about it, and we said, hey, shall we do this? Shall we make this happen? Shall the Freedom Quest and I, as the CEO, the founder of it, be a part of that movie? And everybody was like, yeah, woo! Of course, they said. Yeah, and that's how this came along. And I believe what you're setting up there and what we're setting up is just like puzzle pieces coming together. That's what it feels like.
I believe that for something like this, to really work on changing the world to the better place, you need to unite. You cannot do this alone. You have to be somehow partnered with everyone who wants to do the same. And it's an amazing feeling for all of us. From both of us, let's say, for me and Anya, and also Darren Kavanagh, who is our producer, to meet up so many amazing people, great people. And I think this is the best part of the film now already. And this film already is changing some lives, I can tell you, in the background, because we have so many connections, so many people are actually working, helping us, and so on. And this success of the campaign, for example, in the last month, is not a coincidence. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of amazing people. And thank you from the heart to everyone. And today we want to give you something back in the form of spirit. I'm going to be completely honest. Anya is a very spiritual person. I am not. But I'm not closed. I'm not like, I don't believe in anything. I'm just like believing in what I see and so on. But I have challenges because I don't really know much about being spiritual. So what does it mean to be spiritual at all? If you explain it to me, I think you're going to explain also to someone who's watching this right now.
Of course, yeah. I can actually, what I want to say first is I can relate. The word spirituality often didn't make sense to me, or I just could not resonate with it. It was just like, I'm not spiritual, I even was repelled by it for a long time because the image of a spiritual community was just ungraspable, floaty. People flying out there talking about God knows what, angels, spirits, energies, chakras, all that stuff. And I am mostly based in Bali, right? I'm currently in Switzerland, like yourself, but I'm mostly based in Bali. And Bali has a blessing and a curse. It comes with a really big spiritual community. And with really big, I mean that there's a lot of variety. How I love to explain spirituality to someone as today to you is the main word in the word spirituality is spirit. And for me, that means it's linked to the belief in something greater. As the word says, spirit, we can use the word spirit as the greater thing. Depending on the religion, your upbringing, or wherever you at, there's different words to describe this kind of universal.
Okay.
Some people call it God, God's, spirit, as we said before, the universe, universal energy, unity. divine consciousness. There's a lot of terms. And I think with my journey through yoga, meditation, breathing practice, and like being in a spiritual community and really getting to understand these concepts and these laws, let's say, for me, everybody that has a belief in something that might be bigger and more universal than they can grasp in words is spiritual, right? So the terminology describes that kind of stuff, that kind of like belief in something bigger, a bigger picture. And higher power, Darren says. Yeah, exactly. That's like, I think we're all talking about the same thing there. And often, like you just said before, a lot of people feel like they're not spiritual or they're not like, connected or whatever they feel like because they're lost in translation. They're lost in translation, right? And then you hear a Christian person talking about God and their relationship to God, and you're just like, what's wrong? I don't get it. Like, I don't believe that. And you don't have to, because when we look at all these libraries, all these books, all these records that have been written and created, they very often talk about very similar things, which are linked to live compassionate, loving, kind, and create unity. So it's all going to the same direction, and spirituality is just a facet or a wording to describe that. That makes sense more now.
It makes sense, and to really understand it, what kind of benefit do I get if I go into this, or let's say differently, what am I not getting if I'm not spiritual? What is the problem, that I can face if I don't really put a bit more work into being more spiritual?
Beautiful question. As you say, putting a bit more work into spirituality or practicing some sort of spirituality is your emotional experience in this body, in this lifetime, changes. I very often work with a map of consciousness, which has been created by Dr. Hawkins, and he has researched the human emotions. So I can always link back to what human emotions we feel and experience. And having a belief or having, let's say, a safe haven, a connection to something can shift your emotional landscape, which means a lot of us, we often feel angry, fearful, hopeless, sad, frustrated, maybe guilty or ashamed of certain things. And having a belief in something bigger and something greater is often connected to having the belief in something more beautiful, something more elevating, something more aligned. And practicing that connection to that belief can change how you feel in your body. And we all know the way we feel in our body changes the way that we behave around other people, in social settings, at work, wherever you are. So spirituality and spiritual practices can immediately change the way you feel and the emotions you experience, which changes the way you interact, the way you talk, the way you communicate with people, the way you move through life, right? And to me, that's everything. The way I feel in my everyday life, that's everything.
It's very interesting because you see, when I talk to Anya, for example, about spirituality, or now with you, I have very similar thoughts. And I'm more methodical, which means that I really believe in beautiful state. This means that, if I'm in a bad state, then I need to shift something. For example, start to jump, go for a run, do something with my breathing and so on, And this is actually a very technical thing. You can do these things. And it's actually, if you're jumping, you cannot be in a depressive state, for example. You cannot be very, very sad. You cannot even cry and so on, because your body is actually telling you how you feel. But spirituality is actually, I think, next level that you can add to this thing, if I understand correctly, right? To get even better in certain situations that you cannot actually control with just body or with just thoughts, focus, or maybe some movement. So my question is the following, did you have in your life something that was really challenging and that you had to go through somehow, and that, yes, you found a way through spirituality to get better?
Yes, multiple things. Multiple portals, gateways, transformations. One was definitely I identify as a queer man, part of the LGBTQ plus community. I identify as a pansexual, homosexual human being, a man most of the time, sometimes a woman. And for me, embracing that part of me was not, it was a practical experience. I always felt home in my body as a male body. So for me, that was not a part of the journey, but it was a part of the journey to shape an identity around the way I felt with my sexual orientation.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, spirituality is also, in other words, the practice of letting go and trusting and surrendering.
Okay.
And that has really helped me bring more acceptance towards myself into my life. So that's how that is linked. Another experience, which I'm sure a lot of us here can relate to, is when I turned vegan, I dropped my, let's call it, consciousness level or range of emotions. It dropped into a lot of anger and frustration and a lot of hopelessness. Because I was like, oh, the whole world is not vegan. And like, we're up against mountains. We have to shift dimensions to make the world go vegan. And it made me really hopeless. It made me really sad and hopeless for years, actually. A couple of years I was in that state. And I was on the streets. I partook in demonstrations. I was really front on, like angry front on, leaflets every weekend. I had a full-time job next to it, and every weekend on the streets, demos, helping organize, being part of it, etc. And it did burn me out, because those, let's call them so relatable, Linny says, yeah, let's call them like more draining emotions, more negative emotions maybe, and they really ate me up. And I took around 9 months, 10 months to recalibrate, to just take myself away from these practical types of front-on activism and recharge and recalibrate myself. And spiritual practices, to me, they're always linked to, like, as you describe, a practical practice. Like yoga doesn't come only with sitting and meditating. It comes with movement. It comes with breath. So to me, people that say spirituality is only something that happens outside of the body, I'm like, bullshit. No, it's not. You're in this vessel, and this vessel is equipped with tools like a mind, like a heart, like a nervous system, like lungs, that are directly connected to your experience in this body, which is linked to your experience in the spiritual realm, like the empathic side of us. Most of us vegans are very empathic towards nature, towards the animals mainly, right? And so that means we already understand that we are connected to those things, and spiritual practices can help nourish these connections and help recharge ourselves. And so those were like two main experiences for me where spiritual practice really has changed the game for me to keep going with activism, sometimes in new shapes or forms, but also to come out as a queer man and to just own that and not give a fuck. Like, as much as you can't give a fuck, I don't really not care about, just care about the own center and how I treat others, how I help heal myself, how I help heal others. Yeah.
What I really like about this logic, because I'm also just learning here on the spot with you, is that when you really get some challenges, if I understand correctly, because everyone can relate, that you get really hopeless when you see what's happening to the animals. And when you talk to people that you love, care about, and they don't understand, even though you show them, talk about them for months, years. And it's very, very easy to get frustrated and hopeless. And of course, even in other ways, I think it's a very cool way to get your sense together. But my worry here is like, how fast can you do this? Because usually, because I'm a very methodical guy and I want to do this fast, I don't want to use 10 years to get better, for example. How can you do this fast, and which are the ways that you can somehow get better to the place where you can work from within and you can be strong again?
Beautiful question. So I'm going to answer it in a very potent way. We have two sides of our brain, scientifically proven. We have one that's more analytical, more structured, and one that's more creative and flowy. Some call it the masculine and the feminine side of our brain, right? And some of us are more wired on one side than we are on the other, more programmed, more refined on one side than the other. the beauty about this is, for me personally, I was quite wired, and I still am, structural and analytical. For me, it was a journey to embrace the more creative, the more sensual and liquid part of me, the more feminine. So what really helped me is to understand and look into the science of meditation and like the science of spirituality. So having a look at what actually happens in my body, scientifically researched, when people practice yoga, when people practice meditation. And there's a couple of names, and one of them I always keep coming back to. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. I was lucky to study under him or learn from him. And he teaches what's happening in the mind when we meditate or when we sleep or when we go into these altered states, into these connected states. And he shares how brain waves can change in a meditation practice. And he measured that. He developed with quantum physicians, they developed devices. And for me, when I learned that, before that, I was kind of meditating, but I was just like, listen to your thoughts, try to be calm, breathe. But then when I actually understood the whole specter of what's happening in the mind, it clicked for me. And I was like, oh, I think I really get it now. I really understand what benefits I can harvest from a proper meditation practice, which include the law of attraction, which include manifestation, which include letting go of the ego, which include programming yourself to feel high frequency emotions instead of low ones like hopelessness, right? So then I really access and harvest that. It doesn't take long. It is a practice, so you'll get better at it over time. But I was in the Joe Dispenza retreat, I think 2 years ago-ish, somewhere there. And that was the shifting moment for me. And I have to say, from being a person who sat down 5 minutes a day sometimes to meditate, and now being able to just really zone out, connect, and use this practice for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour, sometimes even 2 hours. And it took me 2 years to get here, right? So it's not something that takes you a lifetime. It really isn't. And the journey, or let's say the goal, also isn't to sit down for half an hour or an hour and meditate. That's not the goal. The goal is to get just a glimpse or multiple glimpses in the moment where you are completely one with the moment, where you're one with your breath, where you feel really connected, where you feel like your emotions don't control you, but they fuel you, they dance with you. And in Joe Dispenza's words, he said, if you meditate for however long, if you have a second of that experience, that's a successful practice. And I subscribe to that.
Wow. For sure, there is a science behind that. And for sure, I believe you, because I know that when you change the energy with anything, can be great. And with this, I think also for me would be great, because I'm also hurrying through life. I want to do things fast. I don't like to be slow and so on. But I think I need to calm down sometimes, just for letting things go and understanding that everything we have is right now. We don't have, I don't know, we're not living in the future, we're not living in the past, we're living right now. And even in 5 years, we're going to be living in right now. So it's kind of important to know how to feel this moment. Helene said if you have any materials to review, because she loves this discussion. And I think we have something at the end of the conversation for the viewers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's perfect. Secondly, let me just say again to these people who maybe just join us right now, that we have today a special offer. If you know, or if you don't know yet about Humankindness film, then you can go to this link that's on the bottom of the screen, and you can get today pre-download of the film for only $10, because another donor is going to give you another half. So check this on this link. And in any case, thank you so much for contribution, because we only have 3 more days left. Yoon, what would you say would be the best practice for me, for example? How can I start with meditation? And tell me, how can I start? What would be the best way to go from scratch?
I think for people like you, which are very structured in a way that you want to do things fast and be efficient and get shit done quick. First of all, I want to say that meditation benefits that. So the minutes that you spend in that practice benefit the way you can be present when you do stuff and you are less distracted. So usually I experience it as I work faster and more efficient when I do my proper meditation practice. How can one get started? Sorry,
If you don't
yeah,
mind, is this the
yeah.
same? For example, like right now, this month I didn't sleep much because we didn't have time and we had to do so many things. And I saw when I didn't sleep much, I could not work really fast. I could not be efficient because my levels of energy were just not there, and my focus was not there, and so on. So is this somehow connected to, for example, being rested and having this peace in your body? Somehow it's similar, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The situation is that when you go to sleep, and you know this moment when you're just before you're falling asleep, and sometimes you're like falling and then you're coming back, or sometimes you really go, you know that moment, right?
Yeah, I do.
That's the moment where your brain waves change and they slow down. So
Okay.
usually right now we call this the beta brainwave state, which is a quite active brainwave state, and where we're in an analytical mindset, we're in an engaged mindset, we're conscious, we're present, we're like focused, right? And it's quite draining for our mind and our bodies to consistently be in that brainwave state. When we fall asleep, though, our brainwaves drop. They can drop to alpha. They can even drop further down. And with dropping, I mean they can become slower. If you do a brain scan, you can see how that becomes slower. And the
Mm-hmm.
beauty of that is different parts of your mind become active and other parts become passive. When your brainwaves slow down and you access, let's say, alpha brainwave state or theta or even gamma brainwave state further down, I'm not going to go into the details here today, but I just want you to understand that the brainwaves slow down when you fall asleep. Now, when you fall asleep and you have a light sleep, they're still rather fast. So the alpha brainwave state can also be accessed during daytime when you're daydreaming. When you're laying in the grass, you're looking in the clouds and you're kind of daydreaming. And the slower those brainwave states go, the more your automatic healing system starts, activating. When you're ill, for example, your body wants to rest, it wants to sleep. That's simply because
Mm-hmm.
it knows that in that brainwave state, the brain activates parts that communicate to your automated healing systems and make them work faster for your service. So, meditation and sleeping are extremely similar. We are changing our brain waves consciously whilst we're awake versus being asleep. There's people that practice clear, I think, lucid dreaming, which it
Mm-hmm.
goes into the similar direction. You're using a conscious state of engagement whilst you're asleep. I haven't practiced that, so I'm not an expert in that. I know how to meditate, I'm an expert there, but the benefits we reap from that are the same. There's even people that practice, like professional athletes, that use this kind of methodology, slowing down the brain waves and practicing, let's say, mentally rehearsing their movements that they're then, executing when they're doing whatever they're
Visualization.
doing.
This is called visualization usually, right? In sports.
Exactly. That's another word for it. You're visualizing that. And by using the meditative practice, you're visualizing it, but not with the analytical mind, because
Okay.
the analytical mind is about 5% of what you usually operate on. When you're consciously thinking every day, 5% of the actions that you take are coming from your analytical mind, the beta brainwave state, in another word.
Okay.
95% are based on your subconsciousness, the things that are programmed there. And the meditation practice that I'm using and teaching helps us reprogram the subconsciousness so that we automatically move better, are more efficient, can do our athletic stuff better, be more focused, be more present in the moment, whatever you want to use it for. You can use it for everything. You can use it for
Mm.
attracting money, for building business, for whatever, really use it for everything. I think that answered your question, did it?
You did, and this is very interesting because I can now understand, that you need to have. I think it's very important to have the energy. I think this is the energy for me. You see, I just try to understand what this means for me, and I think this is the energy level that I want to have. Sometimes the energy is too high, sometimes too low, and you want to have the energy somehow in control. Is this the right approach or not?
Definitely. Like you can use it really for whatever you want. There's a lot of people that use meditation practice. Let's call it subconscious meditation practice. To
Mhm.
just clarify, um, to set intentions, to create intentions in your subconscious mind and let your body automatically start responding to those throughout the day. So you don't have to think that much anymore of like, now I need to do 20 push-ups, like consistently thinking about your goals. No, because you program them, you like integrate them in that practice. So when it comes to setting intentions, like I want to be more fit, I want to do that more, you can use this to actually give you kind of like a wave that pushes you into that direction almost naturally. Actually, not almost, naturally.
Okay, I like this a lot. And like you said before, for example, because we all could relate to this, that you get hopeless when seeing how animals are suffering, how many animals are dead every year, and how people don't care, even though they all love animals. So how can you shift this? For example, you just start meditating how often? 5 minutes a day at the beginning, and then after 2 years, you can be Jung Fuchs, and you can really do this for 2 hours a day, and then you can teach people. Or how can you do this, for example, from now on? Let's say that I had this challenge. I'm hopeless. I want to shift this. How fast and what should I do?
First of all, I always invite people that ask this question to block out a short amount of time in their day, and it doesn't have to be 8 a.m. or 8:15. That doesn't.
Okay.
I'm not there. I always advocate for the mornings and the evenings for a very specific reason, because when you wake up in the morning, your brainwave state is still quite slow. So you can kind of use that. You can kind of use that when you're waking up in the morning and the first thing you do is you slowly roll out of bed, maybe you drink some water, and then you sit down. And your brainwaves aren't full on speed and beta brainwave yet. So ideally, you just start doing a couple of minutes in the morning where you sit your ass down, you keep your eyes closed. You don't have to, but it makes it a bit easier to just feel. You can keep your eyes open, but I suggest you close them. And there's different approaches, I have guided meditations, which I will gift you all with later on, that you can use, and you just put your earplugs in and you follow what my voice says. Very simple.
Cool. Yeah.
Very simple, right? There's people that like that or dislike that or whatever the heck, you can just listen to nothing and focus on staying slow and maybe thinking of a specific intention for throughout the day. I always use these power sentences which start with I intend to. So let's say you're going to a demonstration. Rough example, doesn't happen every day. So you're going to a demonstration, you're going to face like a lot of energy, a lot of people, maybe some heated discussions even, right? And then you're setting yourself in the morning, you're sitting down and you're breathing slow, you're just being in this kind of like sleep-like state. That's your orientation point, right? So if you're kind of feeling like sleepy, but you're awake, you're sitting there, that's kind of like where you can orient yourself on that your brain waves are still slow. And then when you're there and you're kind of there, like sometimes maybe you're going to sigh a little bit, or maybe you're going to be like, oh, that can happen, and that's okay.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, it happens to me still. I love it. It's so fun. It's like, and then this one goes, it's funny. It's funny. And when you set an intention, for example, I intend to be a little extra loving with those very aggressive people. It will change the way you interact with them. Obviously, you're still going to practice patience and might be triggered and get a little bit of anger and frustration, but it will change because when you put that in your mind in the morning, your mind subconsciously will orient itself on this intention. So yeah, sit down, chill out, use a guided meditation of mine or any other one you find on YouTube. There's heaps. Find one when you like it, you choose it, and you sit down. And the whole sitting down part is also something where I always come back to, because a lot of people think you got to sit in a proper yoga position, have a cross-legged yoga seat, a full lotus, we call it, for example. And I'm like, no, you don't. You can sit on a chair, you can sit on your bed, just sit anywhere. Go sit in the grass, on the beach if you have a beach available. Sit anywhere you like. Standing, I don't suggest, because if then you're gonna do this, you're gonna fall down. So sit down.
Or driving and doing this as well.
Driving. Thank you. Yeah, it's very important that when I'm giving you, and I always say this before I gift out the meditations, you don't use this when you're driving, because there's times in your life every day where you need to be in beta brainwave state. You need to be focused, you need to be present, you need to be consciously thinking. You can't drive a car and be like in this sleep-like state. You know that, but I'm just going to say it again, right? So don't do that. Don't. Use the mornings. The same with the evenings. In the evenings, when you're starting to slow down, similar story. In the meditations that I'm giving you, you're going to see that in the evenings, the meditation is more about reviewing your day, looking back, reflecting, checking in on where were you aligned, or what would you change if you had another chance, right? How can I become a better me, a greater me, a more aligned me? So those meditations that I'll gift you with, there's a morning one and an evening one. The morning one is about 25 minutes. It's long. You see if you can do it or not. You know, you don't have to. And the evening one is 12 minutes, 30 minutes. And that will be the challenge. That will be the dedicated challenge. Before you go to bed, enjoy it. And when the morning comes and you wake up, maybe after your cup of coffee, I just suggest before, or cacao. I'm a cacao drinker. Don't drink coffee anymore. So that would be how to get started, right? That would be how to get started.
Okay, I must say that I like this idea for two very good reasons. I'm going to stick with this idea from before. You know, when people get hopeless, let's say, first of all, you're helping yourself. If you're meditating, if I understand correctly, you get to the levels of energy that you want, you can control, and you can help yourself to feel better. This means that you can be actually active in the long term, that you don't have these ups and downs too much, and you certainly don't have these downs. But secondly, what is also crucial is that you can help others because you can influence them. You don't get frustrated, angry, pissed off, and so on so fast. And you can actually communicate with people without being angry, because we have to understand that people are not vegan because of many reasons. And we all were born in this not vegan world. And we need people who are going to show us the way. And for sure, we don't want angry people or frustrated people because we're not going to follow them, right? Ewan, is it possible to do one challenge today together with all the viewers? What do you think?
It's possible. Everything's possible.
Because
yeah.
I think it would be amazing to give this challenge, to people at home, to do this in the morning, in the evening. But let's do something together now. What do you suggest we can do now? And let's see how different we're gonna feel from now on if we do a meditation or short session of, I don't know. You tell me, what is the best to do?
I would love for all of us here right now to actually experience this drop in brainwaves. To go there, and I'd be happy to guide you through it, to just get into this more lower brainwave state. And I'm going to give you like a visual that will help you get there, that you can always come back to, right? Like a visual image where you imagine yourself, that will help automatically change those brainwaves. And we're going to just try to get there together, right? And if you kind of move back and forth, and then a thought comes up again, and then you think about this annoying person you talked about yesterday, we're just going to practice not being consumed by that thought, but just kind of like passing it by, letting it just float by, right? So that we can become more, how do you say that? Not detached from the thought, because the thought is there, but more unaffected by it in the bigger picture. Shall we do that?
Let's ask the viewers, do you want to do the challenge with us right now or not? So if you want, just put yes. If you don't want, put no. Let's see what the viewers think, because of course we can do this, even later on privately, but let's see if the viewers want to do this as well.
As they're typing.
Okay, we have the first yes. So there is a one person, then a second person, yes, please. So it's growing, the intention. So I think, you know what, we should just do it. And later, when people can see this in the not live, but when video is going to be done, also Renato is want to see this right now.
Oh my God, Renato is here.
Patricia, Renato, yeah, everyone's here. Okay, I'm convinced. Let's do this meditation together. Let's change the energy levels, the waves in our brains to lower frequency, if I understand correctly, and see how we feel.
Yeah.
We are yours.
All right. And so if anybody needs to use the bathroom, do it now. we're gonna take around let's do 5 to 7-ish minutes. I'm gonna keep
Perfect.
an eye on the clock, right? So
Okay.
the first thing I invite you to do is to close your eyes. I'll do it with you. Close your eyes. And then check in with how you're seated. If you have a very rounded back, can you kind of straighten it a bit? If you have a very arched back, also unarch it a tiny bit. Just make sure that you're seated in a position you would consider quite straight, even if you're queer like me. All right.
Are you allowed to laugh?
Of course.
Thank you.
I did that on purpose.
I know.
Laughing is a great one to raise the frequency and
Cool.
lower the brain waves. All right. So from now on, we're going to take a couple of moments in silence together. And what I will invite you to do is I invite you to breathe in through your nose slowly and breathe out through your mouth even a bit more slow. Just a couple of breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. Can you try to slow your breath down even a little bit more? Slow inhales into the belly, deep, soft, and out. Drop the tension in your shoulders, neck, face. If your mind gets in the way, maybe with a thought like, I ain't got time for this, I got better stuff to do, stuff like that, just take another breath, let that thought be there, and observe how it fades away again. Make space for another one, or none, maybe. Giving yourself complete permission to attempt to do nothing. Just give yourself permission for the next minutes to stay there. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Keep your eyes closed. Let yourself chill. Observe how your mind becomes maybe a tiny bit calmer. Just maybe. And if it doesn't, imagine all of those thoughts in your mind being clouds on a sky. We know that clouds shape, take form. We know that they travel. We know that they fade away again. So allow yourself for the next moments to imagine those thoughts being clouds on the sky. Let the sky be in those pretty colors you love most. And just observe how these clouds take shape, drift around, and fade away again. As these clouds are doing their thing, I invite you to bring your attention down to the ground again, the ground where you're sitting. Let those clouds just float around, pop up, and disappear. Bring your attention to yourself, to your breath. As you focus your attention on your simple self, and as those thoughts above your head are doing their thing, have a look at what you've done the last couple of days, things you celebrate, things that made you feel joyful, happy, loving, and loved. Let them pass by in front of your inner eye like you're watching a movie. And what about the moments you fell out of alignment? You acted not the way intended. You behaved like someone you'd rather not be. What about those moments? And from this space, reviewing those moments, being in the practice of removing the judgment, things happened, things were said, things were done. Let's remove the judgment and accept them as our teachers, looking forward into the moments ahead, learning from our mistakes as if they were our biggest mentors. And now ask yourself, how do you intend to move forward, to act and behave, to be? Simply envision that intention. Keep your attention on it. Maybe even shape a sentence out of it. I intend to. I intend to. Take one more deep inhale through your nose. Out through your mouth. Sigh it out. Take both your right and your left hand, place them on your heart. Or I should say, place them on your chest. Don't rip your chest open. Just place them on your chest. And thank yourself for just tuning in for a moment. You can slowly open your eyes in gratitude for gifting yourself with this practice. And come back to this world, to this screen. Thank you for joining in to this little practice. How do you feel, Mate?
I feel like I have a different energy. I feel this is almost out of the reality what we're doing, because when I opened my eyes, I was in completely different world, and I could go very deep because I guess because I'm tired, but it was amazing. And of course I feel different and I feel really relaxed and really good, which is a good thing, let me tell you. But
How's
how does
everybody else? How's
exactly
everybody else feeling? Let us know.
it's hard to wake up after this, but for sure.
We both look younger and glowy.
Thank you. Thank you. Glowy. Thank you.
Yeah, it often takes a minute to just get back into like this realm. You said it kind of feels like a reality shift or almost a glitch, right? You're like shifting out of what has been and shifting into a new kind of era or space. So it takes a couple of moments to kind of integrate and get back into it. But just give yourself that time to get back up and running. It's the same like in the morning when you wake up, get back up and running. Yeah.
Let's
Amazing. Lainey feels amazing. Darren is just sending love and hearts. Expansive, calm, relaxed. Perfect. Yeah, observe how that state will, carry itself throughout the day. And sometimes when you fall off track again, this is your center. We call this an anchor to come back to and be like, oh shit, they're like clouds. Like you're triggered again. Oh, they're just like clouds, just feel them a bit and they'll pass again. Emma says, beautiful meditation. Blessings. Thank you. Thank you as well, Emma. Yeah.
From my side, I can say that the practical view of this is that you can do for sure way more and in different energy. And sometimes we forgot how important this is, because our energy levels don't affect only us, but also people around us. And those are the people who usually gets all the bad energy from us, for example, spouses, kids, parents, friends, and others. And I think this is kind of responsibility of us, that we are in a great state, or let's say that we're in this peace that we actually feel right now. Because when we can feel this kind of peace, then I believe we're way stronger and we can really influence more people, because we know we cannot change anyone, but we can influence people. And in this state, I mean, imagine if you're talking to someone who is actually peaceful, who listens to you, who understands you, it's easier to take his or her ideas than if someone who is angry or frustrated or hurrying through life, is trying to sell you something, idea or anything else. So from my point of view, practically very useful. And for sure, it's a challenge, because sometimes I have these thoughts, it's waste of time. I don't have time for this. I want to focus on the things that matters, that's going to bring the most results. But this is actually the same, like this metaphor, when you go in the forest and you want to, let's say, I don't know, cut the trees down. You're a log worker. I don't know. This is just an example. And if you're just going with it, with this X, just going with it like crazy, and you don't stop because you don't have time and you want to do as much as possible, then your life somehow becomes very hard. You can do a lot, but at what price? And secondly, if you sharpen this axe. For example, if you sharpen your mind with meditation or with really beautiful state, beautiful energy, then you can do so much more. And I think this is the biggest thing that I got from this session today. I'm pretty sure anyone got something different or something, something different. For me, this is the realization that this helps me to make more later. What do you think?
Absolutely. The Freedom Quest wouldn't exist if I wouldn't have a meditation practice. The clarity of actions that I'm taking every day, it wouldn't exist without my meditation practice. The energy that people pick up and celebrate when they're around me and I'm around them and I get to celebrate with them, it wouldn't exist without this. It wouldn't. It really wouldn't. I couldn't focus as much as I do. I couldn't have the relationships today, the friendships that I have without this, the depth of it. It has really amplified everything. It has amplified my activism. The people I talk to go like, oh yeah, veganism makes sense, instead of staying in this trigger response. It really has changed everything. It has changed everything for the better, if you would say so. And I'm just seeing Darren's comment. Your
Yeah,
lack of sleep,
I'm just laughing
right?
because of this, because Darren, our producer, he's also practicing meditation. I believe he's way calmer than we are, and he's for the whole month trying to really relax us, and it doesn't go so well usually because Anya is here as well. I think so. Anya, great to see you. And it's not so easy to calm us down, especially me, because really for me it's like, okay, we have one shot, one opportunity. We cannot lose this, and we have to do as much as we can. And it's a learning curve. We learn all the time, and for sure we're getting better. And of course, with connections like today and with knowledge, we can for sure do more together. So I would say thank you, big time, Yoon. This was an incredible experience. I really want to share this with many more people. So if you didn't yet, share this with other people who should see this. And of course, if you haven't yet, check out the campaign, because we have only 3 more days left to get the money to really present this movie that's going to affect so many in so many levels, with your help. And of course, Yoon is going to be part of this film. We're very happy about it. And for the surprise, which we revealed already before, Yoon has something special for you all today, right, Yoon? Tell us about it.
Yeah, we already revealed it, right? I want to equip you all with these meditations that I'm gifting my clients, so that when you want to start practicing and you want to get into this habit, this routine of meditating, you'll have something that you can always come back to. And there's a set of meditations that I'm gifting. I said it before, it's a morning meditation practice. I was talking to Anya before and I said, I'll just give one. And now I'm like, heck, you need the whole thing. You need the package to actually, get to it. So you're going to get the morning meditation, which is a 26-minute morning meditation practice. Sounds long, but once you lean into it, it's gonna go fast, right? It's a journey like we did before, but a little bit deeper. You'll see. We're gonna dissolve the memory of the space around us in that meditation and really get to a place of cosmic unity or nothingness, or I call it infinite darkness, right? Which is not dark in a negative sense. It's just nothingness. So I'll take you to that space, and that will help you slow your brainwaves down a lot and help you set new intentions for the day, similar to like we just did. The evening meditation is 14 to 15 minutes, 13 and a half, somewhere there. I don't remember the exact number, but that will help you review something we just did in our practice as well. Help you review, look back, set new intentions for a greater, a better, a more impactful and inspiring version of yourself. And then I have 2 short meditations for throughout the day. One is an energized meditation, which is 3 minutes. So that could be cool for you if you're feeling a little low now. It's going to get you back on track. Cool. And then one is a short 5-minute meditation, which is similar with the envisioning of the clouds and letting them, pass by, which is amazing if you're in a moment of your day where you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, you're feeling hopeless, you're feeling saddened, even, to understand that these thoughts pass and you and your true power are always there and available. So I'm gifting you all with that today.
Thank you, Ewan, so much. How can they receive this gift?
I many ways, every way is possible.
Can we put some link on the bottom of
Yeah,
the description?
let's put a link. I have them in a Google Drive. Shall I pick them now or later? Are you sending them out later?
We can do this afterwards. So in the comments,
Yeah.
you can just put the link, where people can get this meditation. And of course, if possible, let us know all in the comments below, later on how you felt, maybe tomorrow, maybe after tomorrow, in a couple of days, couple of months, even, connect to Yun and find his social media. But I just have one suggestion, actually, if I may.
Yeah.
About meditation, actually, even though I shouldn't give suggestions today. But Patricia
Please
said,
do.
my computer fell asleep during the meditation, so I wasn't connected. So if you meditate, make sure the computer has enough of lag that it doesn't go to sleep before you. So that's my advice for the people
The
today.
computer chilled out so much.
You even made computer fell asleep. So this was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much, John. Yeah, for being part of this talk today. We all learned a lot. We believe this is going to be huge part of the film as well, because we all need to be somehow in the great state where we can influence people, firstly ourselves, because when we can influence ourselves, when we have control on how we feel, and we're not just like shifted by something that happens all the time around us, by other people, by commercials, by news, by, I don't know, weather, then you have really strength and real power to make things happen. And we are here, all of you who are watching this video are here to make things better. And if we want to change things, if we want to help people, the planet or the animals, we have to be strong first ourselves. Yun, your last words for this session, but not in general, your last words for this session would be what?
I hope not. One intuitive thought, you said the more we can control our emotions, and what came up for me immediately is like, the more we learn to let go of controlling, the more we are actually in control. So the more we let go of forcing control, the more things actually just flow. And that's tying it back to the connection of spirit. Because spirit, God, universe, the angels, whatever you want to call them, they're doing their thing. And they're actually pushing a good direction. They're coming from love. So that would be my last word. The more you can trust and let go of, whatever the heck is happening in here around you, the more you are actually in charge by not being in charge.
New idea for me, but I for sure will dig more into this. Thank you so much for now, Yun. It was a pleasure to have you on this channel, and it's going to be really, really amazing to see you in our film, because we want you to help us to change the world for the better. And of course, we're going to help you as well with the Freedom Quest. If you haven't yet, check it out. And until tomorrow, when we're going to be talking about the purpose, have a beautiful evening, and goodbye.